The story of Kevin Mitnick does not begin in a dark hacker den or inside a high-security data center. It begins at a bus stop in Los Angeles with a teenager holding a punch card. He wasn't trying to break into a system or write malicious code. He was just trying to ride the bus for free. But that small act of curiosity would eventually make him the most wanted hacker in the world. Kevin was not a genius programmer or a math prodigy. What made him different was his obsession with figuring out how things work. He didn't just see rules. He saw opportunities. As a kid, he would watch how the bus drivers punched tickets, how the machines printed transfers, and how people responded when asked questions in authority. One afternoon, he decided to test something. He dug through a trash can behind the bus depot, found used transfer slips, and noticed that each had a small punch mark pattern. So he built his own puncher using cardboard and a pin. The next day, he handed his self-made transfer to the driver. The man didn't even blink. Kevin smiled. He had just socially engineered his first system. The feeling was addictive. It wasn't about the free ride. It was about control, about knowing something that others didn't, and that thrill would stay with him for life. As he grew older, the world around him was changing. Computers were becoming powerful. Phone networks were spreading across America, and the word hacker didn't yet mean criminal. It meant someone who tinkered, someone who wanted to understand. Kevin fit perfectly into that world, but unlike most hackers who spent nights typing lines of code, Kevin's real talent was people. He could convince anyone to give him anything. It started with phones. He discovered a group of hobbyists known as phone freaks. These were people who learned how to trick telephone systems using tones and frequencies. Some could make free long-distance calls. Others could eavesdrop on conversations or impersonate operators. Kevin learned quickly and soon outgrew everyone around him. He wasn't just copying tricks. He was inventing new ones. He would call phone company employees, pretending to be a supervisor from another department. With a calm, authoritative voice, he would ask for internal manuals, passwords, or access numbers. Most people gave them without hesitation. They didn't question the confidence in his tone. They assumed he was one of them. Every new piece of information opened another door. And soon, Kevin realized something that would define his entire philosophy. The weakest part of any system is not the code. It's the person using it. He called this social engineering. Others called it manipulation. But to Kevin, it was a form of art. By his late teens, he had already infiltrated networks belonging to universities, tech companies, and phone service providers. He wasn't stealing money or causing chaos. He was exploring. He collected software source codes like trophies. He wanted to understand how big corporations built their systems. He was fascinated by the logic behind them. But in 1983, curiosity caught up with him. Kevin was caught hacking into Digital Equipment Corporation, one of the biggest computer companies in the world. He was charged and sentenced to probation. Most people would have stopped there. Kevin didn't. He treated it like a challenge. He became a legend in hacker circles. Stories about him spread like wildfire. Some said he could break into any system in the world within minutes. Others believed he could whistle into a phone and access secret government databases. None of it was true, but that didn't matter. Myths travel faster than facts, and Kevin did nothing to stop them. He liked the power that came with the legend. In the late 80s and early 90s, as computer networks expanded, so did Kevin's ambition. He infiltrated systems at Pacific Bell, Motorola, Nokia, and even the National Security Agency. He didn't sell the information or leak it. He just wanted to see if he could get in. But every intrusion left traces, and those traces began to attract attention. Soon, the FBI was watching him. What followed was one of the most intense digital manhunts in American history. The FBI had never dealt with someone like him before. Kevin was a ghost. He used cloned cell phones to mask his location, fake identities to rent apartments, and public payphones to communicate. He would break into a system, leave no obvious fingerprints, and vanish before anyone knew he was there. To the FBI, he was a cyber terrorist. To other hackers, he was a hero. To Kevin, he was just playing a game. But that game escalated in 1994 when Kevin allegedly hacked into the computer of Tsutomu Shimomura, a Japanese-American cybersecurity expert. Shimomura was well known for his work in digital defense, and for Kevin, that made him a perfect target. He broke into Shimomura's network, copied some security tools, and taunted him by leaving traces that only an expert would notice. It was meant as a challenge, but Shimomura took it personally. What Kevin didn't realize was that he had just declared war on the wrong person. Shimomura used advanced tracking systems, working side by side with the FBI, to trace Kevin's movements across phone networks. Every time Kevin used his cloned cell phones, tiny signals revealed fragments of his location. Slowly, the walls started to close in. In February 1995, after years of pursuit, the FBI finally caught him in Raleigh, North Carolina. They raided his apartment in the middle of the night. Inside, they found stacks of floppy disks, notebooks full of passwords, manuals from phone companies, and computer parts scattered everywhere. It wasn't a criminal empire. It looked more like the lair of a man obsessed with understanding everything. Kevin was arrested and charged with multiple counts of computer fraud and wire fraud. The media went wild. Headlines called him the most dangerous hacker in the world. Talk shows speculated that he could start a nuclear war using a payphone. Prosecutors argued that he should be kept away from any electronic device, even a telephone, claiming he could hack the Pentagon just by dialing numbers. The image of Kevin Mitnick had transformed from a curious kid to a digital supervillain. But behind those stories was a very different truth. Kevin never stole credit cards. He never sold stolen data. He never blackmailed anyone. His crimes were technical trespassing, driven by obsession, not greed. He was addicted to curiosity, not chaos. Still, the government needed to make an example out of him. He was sentenced to nearly 5 years in prison, including 8 months in solitary confinement. Authorities said they feared he could launch a missile attack by whistling into a phone. It was absurd, but that was the level of fear the myth had created. Inside the prison, Kevin had nothing. No computer, no internet, no devices, just time. He read, reflected, and planned what he would do when he got out. When he finally walked free in 2000, the world was unrecognizable. The internet was everywhere. The very thing that once made him an outlaw was now a career path. Companies were hiring ethical hackers. Governments were building cybersecurity divisions. And Kevin, the world's most wanted hacker, was suddenly the most qualified man to teach them how to defend themselves. He started a company that helped corporations strengthen their systems. He wrote books that became cybersecurity Bibles. He gave talks around the world, explaining the psychology behind social engineering. He showed executives how easily someone could trick their employees into giving up sensitive information. It wasn't the technology that was dangerous. It was the illusion of safety. Kevin's message was clear. Security isn't about code. It's about people. A hacker doesn't need to break encryption if he can simply make you reveal your password over a phone call. And that truth is still the foundation of cybersecurity today. As the years passed, Kevin became something rare in the digital world, a redeemed legend. The same media that once called him a villain now called him a visionary. But what made him truly remarkable wasn't his redemption. It was his self-awareness. He knew he had created his own myth. He knew that the hacker god image was exaggerated. Yet, in some way, he embraced it, not to glorify his past, but to show the power of perception. Because Kevin's greatest hack was never a network or a corporation. It was the world's belief. He proved that fear, once planted, can spread faster than any virus. He made governments believe he was unstoppable. Journalists believe he was supernatural. And ordinary people believe that a man with a phone could control the digital universe. That was the real illusion. Kevin Mitnick passed away in 2023, but his story still echoes through cybersecurity circles like a ghost in the code. His name is taught in universities, his methods studied by experts, and his philosophy quoted by ethical hackers. Every time a company trains employees not to click suspicious links or share information on a call, that's Kevin's legacy in action. He changed how the world thinks about hacking, not as an attack on machines, but as an attack on trust. He showed that the most advanced systems in the world can collapse with a single mistake. In the end, Kevin Mitnick didn't conquer the internet with code. He conquered it with psychology. He didn't need to be a hacker god. He just needed people to believe he was one. And in a world where perception is reality, that belief was the ultimate hack. Even today, when cybersecurity experts talk about human error, they are talking about the same principle Kevin discovered as a teenager holding that bus transfer. Systems don't fail because of bad code. They fail because someone, somewhere, trusted too easily. Kevin's story is not a warning about hackers. It's a mirror held up to humanity. A reminder that in our quest to protect ourselves from machines, we sometimes forget the most unpredictable element of all, the human mind. That is how one teenager who tricked a bus driver would go on to trick the entire world. That is how Kevin Mitnick became the man who made the internet believe in a hacker god.